Hello, so today I'm going to put together a relatively simple analog collage from some pages from a issue of National Geographic. In fact, I went through that in it's the issue I went through a few previous videos ago, so you might remember this diver from that episode. I'll see if I can remember to put a link to it on the in the show notes in the description. So, what I've tended to do nowadays, because I've always had a habit of, well, after a while I started to have a habit of, coming up with ideas, but not actually putting them together until later on. So I'd cut these pages out and just put them together to one side with notes written on them. But now I've started to put them in little baggies just to be a bit more organised, and I hang them up on a hook for when I'm ready. So let's take that out. It's not actually a little baggie. It's like a folder protector, but still. So I've got the diver here. It's going to go on here somewhere, and actually it's going to have to be to the right hand side of the picture because his foot is off camera. And I had the idea where I have these three images of a cityscape. I believe it's LA. Yeah, it's LA. And it doesn't necessarily have to be LA. It's just the picture of the cityscape. So the fact that it's LA in the in the actual picture isn't of any real meaning. It's just it happens to be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have these three parts of the image away but torn. And the idea is it's going to be called Fractured World. Now I'm going to cheat here. Well, even though I'm tearing this bit here like this, I want it to look more like a. In fact, that one will probably actually be all right. But the idea is I'm going to cheat and have it as more of a fractured, or more of a classic torn tearing. So I don't actually have a one shot only at this. I've got some plain white paper, some printer paper, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to tear the paper. If something goes wrong, I can just discard that. If something goes wrong with this image here, that's game over potentially. So I thought, since it's fractured world and beyond, and between the fractures comes up an empty void, ordinarily I would use black, but that doesn't look quite so empty for something like this. I think white looks like it's a complete whiteout, as in there's nothing. Sometimes white can seem more like nothingness than black, because black is an actual colour, and white is the actual, the plain page you start from. But then there's also the fact that white is also, the combination of all colours. So it depends which way you want to look at it. But I think for this one, for a piece of artwork, I think white might work better, and it's cheaper. So let's start with the tearing. So yeah, because this tearing here actually worked quite well, but it's still a bit straight on this side, so I wanted to have a bit more of a obviously torn look to it. So that's why I'm still going to do it with the white paper anyway. And it might look weird if I do it one side and not the other, so might as well be consistent. So I don't want the gap to be too wide. I mean, something could be said for the actual what you're saying with the image, is if you have a very wide gap, but it means like it's going to be the piece is going to be wide and not very tall as it is. So I decided to make it not quite, so it's just freshly torn, or torn but not completely out of reach. I think these have gone quite well. And also, one of the advantages to doing it on paper, doing the white paper, is sometimes it doesn't, where it tears, what's left, sometimes it takes a bit with it, so you can actually see a little through the paper here. I'll put that up close, so that has a kind of neat effect as well. So what I'm going to do is, I've got some extra paper here, but they're going to be for backing when I to make the piece a little stronger when I actually put it together. So I've got my glue, my trusty Pritt stick. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to glue here. I've got my trusty back of a book, the book on television. That's my gluing pad. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try and keep it as straight as possible, which will be very difficult. In fact, it might be easier if I just turn this around and do it, so I might be able to see the line a bit better. So there. That's there. Showing me how to split this picture up, but I saw more use for the piece what I'm planning here than what I could have done with that piece. This is one of the problems with Analogue, really. A hand cut. You're at the mercy of what's at the back, and you sometimes have to make quite difficult choices. So here, Shem couldn't also use this picture of someone having a very bad day, but it is what it is. In fact, what might help with keeping it together is it says cutting, and we'll fold this over here, and then I put on the last piece. This will be a fairly quick video, I think, but I'm just talking about the process of what I plan to do. The thing that's going to take the longest is the diver. Now I could do it without the diver, but I thought that would add an extra little quirk to it, and also you could be the observer of this horribly fractured world. That's that there. It's not exactly what you call straight, so I will have to, I'm putting it to this on here, use the ruler as a bit of a guide. And I'll just, I've got this on here, I'll just use that. And not much has gone over the actual, on the actual board, thankfully. And that's that all put together. Well, like I said, I'll So that's all that, and like I said, here you can see some of the background coming through. So now I will figure out where I'm going to put him. I initially thought I'd put him maybe on the right hand side here, but I'd really kind of like him to be observing the building in the middle, this central cluster of buildings. So I could have him coming down from the top. So I think that's what I'll do. So I'll put this to one side. And it's time to start cutting. There's nothing on the other side, so I don't have to worry about using that, because I can't see any use for this really. Much use for it. I might keep it, I might not. But I'll put it out of the way. And let's get this cut. I was originally going to make this piece, just make this piece and use it as a collage of the week, but I thought no, in the end I'd just make a video out of making it, because not every piece I make is going to be on camera here. But sometimes I have generally now made more hand cut pieces because of these. Because at least this way also I can talk a bit about what I like to do and why I might choose to do this, which would obviously be quite useful to other artists, because it's always nice to, I like to hear about why people do the things that they do artwork wise, because it might give me some ideas for myself. And it's also nice just to see more of this this medium of artwork, because we don't get the love we deserve really. At the very least, at the very best, it's usually thought of as a bit like a side form of artwork, something that someone might dabble in, or so forth. So, especially when it comes to like the whole art gallery circuit, which at some point I will do a video talking about my feelings on that and my own relationship or lack thereof regarding art galleries. So more on that at a later date. Now, I'm not sure if that would end up being considered a process video, or I may come up with another playlist of, you know, art opinions or something. I still haven't figured that out, and I'll probably make the final decision when I actually make the video. One definite slight minus for me now as I'm getting older is it's hurting a bit more to hold the scalpel in my hands. if I do it for too long. And this isn't even very long and it's aching a little, so I have to figure out a way around that. So I do like these. I mean, I have a knife with a thicker handle, but it's longer. I like the way that the length of the scalpel, how it fits in my hand. But I could, because I've got more than one handle here, as you can see here, I could experiment wrapping some foam around it just to see how that helps with the grip, like how some people have with pens and pencils. So I'll have a look into that. So anyway, so here's the diver all cut out. So I'll tidy him up a little. Also, I can draw a little around the much darker bits on his leg, around the sides. So you don't have so much of the white edge. So let's see where we're going to put him, shall we? So let's see how he might look. Coming down to observe here. I think that might work actually. So let's glue him up. Whoops. And as can happen with collage, accidents happen. I've just torn his foot off. However, it's not catastrophic because since it's dark anyway, I can just lop him back on, pop him back on, and colour in. There you go. All good as new. Now I'm going to figure out where I'm going to sign this thing. Because obviously I don't want to do it on the white because I want that to be an empty void. I know I've got the flipper going over there, and that's a little bit of an accident, but I think it works because he's observing from both, I think. So I shall think I'll sign here. I shall write on the back. And best not write on the actual white as well, because I don't want anything to bleed through that, apart from where it has bled through a little and tear. So and I will maybe after all put some glue some paper behind the join. Just to make it more so you don't see through. Do it on that side, and I'll do the other side later. So here we have it. I quite like how this works. I think there's the bits where these are sticking out. I'll trim those off later once the glue's dried, so it doesn't snag on the blade. So let me know what you think. And I'll just do I don't know how much the camera's picking up. So I should give a full view of what it is. Let me know what you think, whether you like it, and as always, like, share and subscribe. And my description has my link tree, which has my merch links on my socials. It also has a link to my Patreon, and And as I said, the sharing, the liking, sharing, subscribing all helps me. It's a way you can help me for free. Helps with the dreaded algorithm, and hopefully, as things go on, I might be able to make a little bit more out of this. If I can get some kind of backing like that, then it means I can also maybe invest in better equipment at first. So, like I said, let me know what you think, and I shall speak to you soon. Thank you.